Entrance of the official party remain standing for the national anthem. Please take your seats. Family and friends, I'd like to thank you for your attendance today to the graduation of the Department of Aviation Flight Paramedic course, Class 253. Welcome, my name is Staff Sergeant Emmons. I am the non-commissioned officer in charge of this course and the Master of Ceremony for today's graduation. These students have spent the past 4 weeks pouring their heart, a lot of sweat, and even some tears to accomplish a goal of becoming the Army Critical Care Flight Paramedic. They come from all over the country in pursuit of higher education to provide the best possible medical care to our injured soldiers on the battlefield. This job is not for the coward. It is not for the person that turns and runs in adversity, and definitely not for the weak stomach. It challenges excellence, it demands an unwavering persistence to know more, to climb higher, and to develop resilience. I can confidently say that everyone sitting in these seats today are all ready to accept that challenge. We here at the Department of Aviation Medicine have demanded a lot out of these students over the past month. They initially received academics involving aeromedical and hoist operations, as well as recognition of aircraft components and systems. The students were challenged to appropriately identify and to describe the workings of the UH-60 engine, transmission, landing gear, hydraulics, auxiliary systems, all in the aircraft. This was a surprise to most of them as they assumed they were here to learn solely about medicine and not helicopter engines, but once they accepted it, they all got through it together. The students also subjected to a rigorous water survival training where they learned survival swimming techniques before they were seatbelted into a floating chair that was then flipped upside down to simulate a crashed and sinking helicopter. This was definitely not the favorite part of this course for some of them, whereas others seemed to enjoy it a little bit too much. After the aviation-specific tasks were completed, the next phase was to focus on their medical tasks in the back of a helicopter. The simulated patients treated throughout this course ranged from trauma injuries with multiple amputations, military working dogs, post-surgical critical care transfers, to even some children and even babies. The students took part in a mass casualty scenario where they assessed, triaged, and treated multiple patients while still being expected to manage a very chaotic scene. This tested their physical and mental limits to prepare for the mass casualty producing environments that we may face. Additionally, these students completed a cumulative situational training exercise where they had to manage a post-surgical patient in a helicopter as it flew 1,000 feet off the ground. These flight paramedics finally put into practice everything that they have learned over the past 4 weeks and accomplished what they set out to achieve, some starting even over a year ago. But the learning does not stop here. This is not only the beginning of the possibilities that lie before them. Now I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. Caroline Sosebee. She's a former veterinarian corps officer here at Fort Novosel. Captain Sosebee attended, graduated, and then even became a guest instructor at our very own Joint En Route Care course, which is the next higher level of training for these flight paramedics in front of you, should they choose to return. A veterinarian accomplished this, so you should all feel very challenged. Captain Sosebee completed 6 years on active duty, working as the veterinarian treatment facility officer in charge, and she's currently with a veterinarian detachment in Louisiana training first responders in emergency veterinarian care. Captain Sosebee.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, most importantly, the newest graduates of Flight Paramedic Course 25253. What an incredible honor it is to stand before you today. I'm just a dog mechanic, but I'm very honored to be here. This is a day that marks not just an ending, but a beginning. To the families and the loved ones gathered here, thank you for your constant support and encouragement. To the instructors, mentors, and staff who molded this cohort with patience, precision, and passion, your fingerprints are on every life that they will go on to save. And to the graduates, the newest flight paramedics, congratulations, you've earned this. I come before you not as a fellow graduate, but as a soldier, a veterinarian, and a witness to a unique kind of courage, the kind that doesn't always carry a rank or even speak our language. I've spent years in service to those who walk beside us on four legs, but serve with the same heart, the same loyalty, and the same courage as any of us in uniform. I've seen the military working dog perform under duress, stand in the way of harm meant for others, and return again and again and again to serve. No hesitation, no complaint. They do not know politics or pride. They only know their mission, loyalty, and sacrifice. And if that sounds familiar to you, it should. I see the same selfless service in the spirit of a flight paramedic, a spirit of readiness, loyalty, and sacrifice. These are not just words in our line of work, they are our code. Today I would like to share with you the story of a soldier that understood that code. Her name was Leica. Leica was a military working dog deployed with a special operations team in Afghanistan. In 2012, she was sent into a building ahead of her team, something she'd done countless times. This time was different. Inside, an enemy combatant opened fire. Leica sustained 4 gunshot wounds from an AK-47 at close range. But even as bullets tore through her body, she pushed forward. She neutralized the enemy shooter, saving her team from what would have been a disastrous and deadly ambush. She collapsed afterwards, bleeding, critically injured, but alive. Her handler, Staff Sergeant Julia McDonald, rendered care at the point of injury. Leica was medevaced for surgery. Although I was not her treating veterinarian that day, those that tirelessly worked on her understood the gravity of the situation. They understood that the life of a warrior that gave everything she had rested in their hands. Although Leica survived and she went on to live with Staff Sergeant McDonald, her story was not without sacrifice. She is not just the story of a heroic dog. She is a reflection of what all of us are called to be in this room: vigilant, loyal, and willing to give everything when the mission demands it. That's why I was honored to serve as a guest instructor for this course in years past, particularly to teach trauma care for military working dogs. But what I hope to share wasn't just medicine, it was something deeper, an understanding of what it means to serve without hesitation. And now, that is your role. As flight paramedics, your battlefield may be in the air in a crowded, dark helicopter. You may be treating a soldier, a civilian, a child, or even a working dog. But our code remains the same. There's a poem that you may have heard, or perhaps for some this is the first time. It is titled Guardians of the Night. It was written to honor military working dogs, but I've always believed it speaks to those who serve in the shadows, those who protect, those who endure, and those who do the hard work when no one is watching. I would like to share a passage from it. I will protect you with my last breath. When all others have left you and the loneliness of the night closes in, I will be at your side. And when our time together is done and you move on in the world, remember me with kind thoughts and tales. For a time, we were unbeatable. Nothing passed among us undetected. If we should meet again on another street, I will gladly take up your fight. I am a military working dog, and together we are guardians of the night. Like Leica, you will live that vow. You will run towards the unknown because your fellow soldier needs you. You will be at their side. You will take up their fight as their guardian of the night. You've taken the flight medic oath. You've studied. You've trained. You've pushed your limits. You're ready now. Never let your skills soften. And so here's my final charge to you. When you step onto that aircraft, don't just bring your gear, bring your heart, bring your oath, bring the loyalty of Leica and the readiness of those that served beside her. Bring the humility to know that every life matters. You are not just medics, you are not just crew. You are the reason that somebody gets to come home again. You are the reason that someone will get to hold their child. You are the reason that someone will survive the unthinkable. You are the lifeline when all other lights go out. And in the darkest of nights, when the wind is loud and the rotors are spinning, be the calm, be the hope, be the guardian of the night. Congratulations, flight paramedics. Serve with honor, protect with courage, never forget who you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Captain Sosaby, for being here today. Now I would like to call Specialist Talos to the stage to lead the students in the flight medic oath. Specialist Talos will now return to Sergeant First Class Anderson, which she was issued at the beginning of the course. Specialist Talos was chosen to be the bearer of the legendary Crewmember wings that date back to the classes in the 1980s. This badge has been passed from class to class without fail and was issued at the beginning of the course to be carried by her at all times. Thankfully, this class did not find out what happens if she lost them. This class has been through an incredible amount of training to get to where they sit now. We will recognize them for that dedication. First, the Distinguished Honor Graduate is a recognition given to the student who achieves the highest academic exam average and receives a first-time go in all of their hands-on evaluations. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for Class 253 is Sergeant Alexander Taffet from New York National Guard. Sergeant Taffet is actually a prior crew chief that decided he liked what we did and switched over to be a medic. The runner-up is recognized as the honor graduate. This recipient for Class 253 is Specialist Courtney Talos from the Colorado Reserves. The next three are selected for the Commandant's list for being in the top 20% of the class. Specialist Ji-Won Yi from active duty. Sergeant Jevin Birkland, also from active duty. And Specialist Gregory Taylor from Delaware National Guard. That went well, yeah. The following five receive superior academic achievements for achieving over 90% on all of their exams and a first-time go in the graded practical exercises, achieving the top 40% of the class. Staff Sergeant Jonathan Kozakevich from active duty. Sergeant Ryan Spodek from Vermont National Guard. Staff Sergeant Garrett Gibbs from Florida Reserves. Sergeant Joseph Methy from Nebraska National Guard. And Sergeant Philip Plemons from Tennessee National Guard. The additional graduates of Class 253 are Sergeant Thomas Burnett, Sergeant Teresa DeMille, Sergeant Tobias Dreger, Sergeant Bobby Gonzalez, Staff Sergeant Andrew Hannenbaum, Sergeant Jonah Yelm, Sergeant Jason Kingery, Sergeant Samantha Morton, Sergeant Autumn O'Brien, Staff Sergeant Devin Olson, Staff Sergeant Ashley Peralta, Sergeant Morgan Quagliaroli, Specialist Jacob Ramos, Sergeant Brendan Spar, Sergeant Savannah Stiles, Staff Sergeant Jesse Torres, and Specialist Benjamin Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduates of Flight Paramedic course. Colonel Venezia, Sergeant Spar, the class leader, will now present a gift to the Department of Aviation Medicine to solidify their lineage at the Dust-Off Training Complex.
On behalf of Class 253, we dedicate this plaque to the tradition of the logo of the Dust-Off. It's very much Spangled on it.
Additionally, Sergeant Taffet, the Distinguished Honor Graduate, would like to present a class gift to Captain Sosaby.
Thank you for your time and dedication, keeping us dedication to the nation's goals.
Sergeant Taffet, the Dust-Off Association would like to also present you with a gift for being the Distinguished Honor Graduate.
Congratulations on being the Distinguished Honor Grad. I'm Sergeant First Class Justin Jackson. I'm an active duty critical care flight paramedic stationed here at Fort Novosel. I work capability development for our ground and air medical evacuation platforms and service members like y'all. So this is an outstanding achievement. It's a great accomplishment. This is the best job in the Army. So thank you for going through this grueling course. Thank you for what you're about to do. So one of our industry partners named Onboard Systems does something. They buy a lifetime membership to the Dust-Off Association. The Dust-Off Association is our medevac professional association, if you will, right? So crews of past and present. They do things like sponsor the medic of the year, the crew chief of the year, the rescue of the year, all that type of stuff, and they have a reunion every year. This year it's is it May, Caleb? End of April, beginning of May, in DC this year. So that you are selected for any of the prestigious awards. They fly you out, all expenses paid, and recognize you. So they have bought your lifetime membership in the amount of $50. So, but it's a definitely a cool lineage, and so on behalf of Onboard Systems and our office at McKinney here in Fort Novosel, again, I'd just like to say thank you. Smile here for the camera. Awesome. Thank you. So that's for you. And this is from our liaisons for the Army National Guard. Master Sergeant Joseph Stringer and Captain Maldonado have patches that they make up, and so all the Guards members that come through, you guys are usually the ones at the top of the list, right? That's usually because you're doing some of the inside. So I just again say thank you for that as well. Congratulations. Thanks.
On behalf of the director, I would like to thank everyone for their attendance today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song. Please remain standing for the departure of the official party.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Down the brave, down the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. When the army goes rolling along, proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's high, hey, the army's on its way. Cut off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Thank you all for your attendance today. This concludes the graduation. Class dismissed.